You grew up with a single mom. What do you think that taught you?
It taught me so much. It made me who I am, and I actually like who I am now. So I'm grateful for that. It taught me to be like a hustler. Because my mom was always working in school full time to get her bachelor's degree, there was no helicopter parenting happening. It made me like the ultimate problem solver because I had to be. So like if I wanted to do something, if I needed to figure something out, like how to make the VCR plug into the TV, right? Like I had to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
I couldn't be like, hey dad, how do you do this? Or mom, fix it for me. I just had to figure things out. I actually really like that about me. And I could imagine that I probably wouldn't have that skill set the way that I do if I had a different upbringing. Episode 2 of the Ad Baddies podcast. Here we are. We made it.
We're here. So,
do you think that we will be able to get home? Like, do you think we'll have a car to get home in?
my car might be gone. We gave it away on accident.
No, it was kind of on purpose, but it may not have been the smartest thing we've ever done.
No.
But it was convenient.
It was convenient. We had stuff to
Convenient
carry to
as
get in here
heck.
to the studio.
We had like what, like 4 bags?
Yeah.
To lug up to the podcast studio.
Yeah. There was no parking spaces. Convenient.
It's on the 10th floor.
And it's not the best part of town.
We're downtown in Dallas.
Two girls alone. Okay. Give us a break on
hot
that.
girls.
2 baddies.
2 ad baddies all alone in downtown Dallas with 4 bags, 2 of which Louis Vuittons.
So, which both belong to her, not me. Let's be clear.
So long story short, we did not want to walk 5 blocks from a parking lot to the podcast studio.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a hotel right next to the podcast studio. And we were like, maybe we can valet.
They have valet.
Let's see if we can valet. So we pulled up, rolled down the window, and I said, hello, kind sir. Would you mind valeting our vehicle, even if we're not staying here? And he said, yeah, I'll do it for $30 if you Venmo me.
If you Venmo me. Yeah.
$30.
So Lucy Venmo'd him and I gave him my car. And then when we got in the studio, I was like, we didn't get a ticket or anything. Like, we just gave a stranger my car and paid him to take it. And I guess we just hope he's still at the valet desk when we come out.
Gosh. It seemed like a great idea. And then as we were in the elevator going our 10 floors up,
We realized.
I was like thinking, and Jackie was thinking, and we looked at each other and we're like, oh, shit.
This is not a good thing.
That was
we've
not
done.
a good decision. So Jackie's kind of hoping it's stolen so she can get her Range Rover.
It's true. Do I get an upgrade if my car gets stolen?
I don't think your husband will reward you.
I feel like you don't get anything when you give your car away.
when you pay someone to take your car. Yeah. So, but we're here.
We're here.
We will cross our fingers and say a prayer that there's a car waiting for us when we're done with this episode.
So if there's not an episode 3, you'll know why. We never made it home.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
But yeah, so this episode, we want to do a little bit of get to know us sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just so you can have a better understanding of who we are, where we're coming from, and what we have to offer to share with you.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
You go first, Lucy.
Okay. I'm Lucy. I am 33 years young, right? I'm still 33.
Yeah, I think so.
I am a mom of 3. My kids are 7, 11, and 14.
Don't mess this up.
I always do because I was thinking my 11-year-old's about to turn 12. Is he 12 yet? No. 7, 11, 14. I've been married for almost 15 years. Yeah, do the math. I got married real freaking young. I was a baby. But I did it and it's gone well. So that's good.
Let's go back farther.
Okay. How far?
So the day you were born.
Okay.
No.
I don't know about that day.
Totally kidding. But like, where did you grow up and kind of what was your childhood like?
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't know.
This is not like a therapy session or anything, but just share.
Where is my therapist? So I was born in Arlington, Texas. My mother gave birth to me. No, for real. I grew up in Mansfield, Texas. My parents got a divorce when I was super young. I was like 5. And hopefully my mom's not listening to this, but it was a pretty difficult divorce.
Yeah.
Super traumatizing for me. Mainly because they fought a lot. So that was kind of like what I remember from my youngest, like earliest memories.
Yeah.
This got deep fast. Trauma. No, it wasn't like, I didn't have a terrible childhood, but that was like a huge piece of it. My mom got remarried when I was 14. So we moved from, actually, like up until 14, I kind of just lived with my single mom. She was going to school full time and working full time, super poor. I'd come home from school with like the lights turned off because she couldn't afford the electricity bill. She did the best she could.
Yeah.
But she was a single mom, like doing it all.
With 3 kids.
With 3 kids, yeah. And I was the youngest. So like my older siblings are 10 years older and 7 years older. So I feel like they kind of grew up together, and then there was like a little bit of a separation. It almost, I know I wasn't an only child, but I almost felt like it a little bit because my older brother and older sister were like leaving the nest as I was having, I guess, like now that I have memories, those are like what my memories are.
Yeah. You grew up with a single mom.
Grew up with a single mom. Super.
What do you think that taught you?
Oh gosh.
What did you learn from that?
Honestly, it taught me so much.
Yeah.
Like I could, it made me who I am, and I actually like who I am now.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. It taught me to be like a hustler. Like because my mom was always working and in school full time to get her bachelor's degree, I wasn't like, there was no helicopter parenting happening. So it made me like the ultimate problem solver because I had to be. So like if I wanted to do something, if I needed to figure something out, like how to make the VCR plug into the TV, right? Like I had to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
I couldn't be like, hey dad, how do you do this? Or mom, fix it for me. I just had to figure things out. And that really like, I actually really like that about me. Yeah. That's one of my favorite qualities.
That about you too.
Thank you. And I could imagine that I probably wouldn't have that skill set the way that I do if I had a different upbringing.
Yeah. That's
so thank you for asking that, because that just reminded me how much I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. That's like a cool thing that came out of a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, my mom got remarried. I ended up moving in with my dad at one point in high school. And when I was 17, I was a little bit of a wild child.
No.
Believe it or not, in high school, I definitely pushed the limits and gave my poor parents a run for their money. Oh gosh. Now that I have a 14-year-old, I hope and pray that she's not like I was in high school. Because, Lord have mercy.
She's a good kid.
She is. I've got 2 more that I hope are also good children. So when I was 17, I met my husband and pursued him pretty heavily. I was the aggressor.
That sounds a little crazy, but
what's the word I'm thinking of?
You pursued him? I don't know. Like,
I was I don't like aggressor. Didn't do anything bad. I just really liked him. I was like, this guy is it. He was 20 and I was smitten by him. We actually worked at Chili's together, and I do you want to hear our first date story?
Yeah,
I swindled my husband into going on a first date with me. Swindled. And I didn't even see it that way, but now looking back, it was kind of a swindle situation. So we were working at Chili's, and he was like, hey, my brother said my husband had just moved to Texas. And so he was like, I knew his younger brother from high school. And so his younger brother had told him that he knew me and that I could introduce him to like some cute girls because I had cute friends.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So he was like, hey, my brother said you would introduce me to some people. And I'm like, sure.
I'll introduce you to some people.
I'll introduce you to somebody.
Her name is Lucy.
It's me. And so I guess one day at Chili's, like we were both working and I was like, hey, you want to go to a haunted house tonight? And he was like, yeah. Because going to haunted houses is like, that's a cool thing when you're 17.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fun thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I forgot to mention to him that it would just be me and him and my best friend and her boyfriend. So he assumed it was like me and a gaggle of gorgeous
group thing. Yeah.
Teenage girls. And no. So he said, yes, we go to a haunted house. It was just me, him, my bestie, JC, and her boyfriend at the time. And it was history from there. He was like hugging me in the haunted house, like trying to kiss me, I bet. And it was history from there.
Oh.
Yeah. But I was definitely the one that was like, hey, we like each other. And he's like, do we? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. So long story short, we got married. I was 18. He was 21. Had a baby. Well, first, actually, if we're going to be honest, I got pregnant. I found out I was pregnant with our daughter, our oldest daughter, 2 weeks after I graduated high school. And it was 1 week after I went skydiving.
Oh, that's right.
Because I'm an adrenaline junkie.
I knew you went skydiving pregnant, but you didn't know it.
I did not know I was pregnant. And then, so 2 weeks after graduating high school, I found out I was pregnant. And it wasn't like, I mean, obviously it was scary, but we were so in love that it was like, it's fine. Like, we'll just get married and start the family early. So that's what we did. We got married in October, had our daughter in January. And my husband joined the Marine Corps, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I was terrified about him joining the Marine Corps because I thought like, oh, he's going to go to war and it's going to be crazy and scary and dangerous. But he had a pretty, I mean, dare I say, easy enlistment. He was in for 5 years and he didn't deploy for like war or anything. He did one deployment. We lived in San Diego with our babies a mile from the beach. I mean, we had a pretty awesome experience with him being in the Marine Corps. Yeah. It was fun. And we were so young, like so young. I think we moved to San Diego when I was 20 and he was 22 or 23. And
you didn't have family out there.
No.
So you had to hustle again.
Yeah. Well, we didn't hustle. I was broke as a joke. I mean, being in the military, like we were on government assistance. I didn't work. I had my second child when I was 21. So I had like a 2-year-old and a newborn and didn't work, stayed home with them and lived off of my husband's Marine Corps income, which was enough to take care of us. But it was for sure paycheck to paycheck on WIC. And they would give us like free milk and cheese, which is funny now because we've just grown and changed so much. But yeah, that was reality. So
then what?
While I was a stay-at-home mom and my husband was in the Marine Corps, I wanted to go to school. I had 2 babies, literally in diapers, but I wanted to like prove to myself and to like everyone who thought we were insane for having a baby and getting married so young, because all my friends were like doing the college thing. Mm-hmm. Like they were all partying and sororities and having fun and living different realities.
Completely different. Yeah.
And honestly, like I kept like maybe 2 friends from high school. Everyone else was like, that bitch is crazy. No, just friendships didn't stick. But I wanted to prove just to the world and to myself that I could make something of myself, that I wasn't like a deadbeat loser having a family that would be poor forever. So I started going to school online, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just went to school for healthcare administration because it seemed like something I was interested in. Healthcare. I still am. Like I
know you're interested in healthcare.
I low-key watch surgery videos on YouTube in my spare time.
It's not low-key.
For
it's
fun.
high-key.
I love watching like a good brain surgery. Like so interesting to me. I also want to be a lawyer and a doctor. Like those are things that they're so fun and interesting to me. So anyway, I was pursuing my bachelor's for healthcare administration, and my husband was like, cool, you can do this now so that when I get out of the Marine Corps, you can work. Like you can start working. And in my mind, I was just getting my bachelor's to like prove to myself that I could do it.
That you could.
I wasn't really interested in working.
Using it. Using that degree.
Which is ridiculous, but yeah, truthfully, yeah. And so we had a great experience in San Diego, stayed there for 5 years. I got my bachelor's degree all online with 2 babies, raised my kids. And towards the end of us living there, I started to work a little bit. I started working in an optometry office, which is like eye doctor, working very part-time. And then my husband got out of the Marine Corps and we moved back to Texas, and he was like, okay, now it's time for you to work.
Time to work, Lucy.
Use that degree that we just spent money paying for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but why? I don't wanna. No, for real though, that was a bit of a challenge because he was ready. Like we were just on different pages. He wanted me to step up and start earning money. And he was trying to figure out like his career post Marine Corps. What am I going to do? What is he going to do? It was just a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
So I used my degree. I got a job managing a eye care office in Texas, and I hated it. Like,
oh no.
Yeah. I mean, it was good because it brought like income to our family. My husband got a great job. That's like another podcast episode. I'll tell you that story later. But for me, yes, I was like contributing to the family and using my degree, but I was miserable. Like I literally cried to and from work.
Yeah. That
said, during that time, I started figuring out like what I actually wanted to do. And I think I didn't do that on purpose. I just did it because I had to have like,
it was like an outlet.
I had to have something else.
Yeah.
Like I had to be figuring out how I was going to. Yes. It sounds like dramatic, but literally. Yeah. So I started listening to Smart Passive Income, which is a podcast by Pat Flynn. And he's talking about like marketing and how to create passive income and all of these things that you can create when it comes to like business and income and revenue. And my mind is just like going. And I'm dreaming and learning on the way to and from work every day. I had like a 45-minute commute to the job that I absolutely hated. Managing people is a freaking nightmare. Like it's for some people. It ain't for me. What do you think about managing people? Like it sucks.
It's not.
Do you
fun.
like it?
I like.
I feel like you like it more than me.
I like it when things go well. When things don't go well, it sucks.
Well, and I feel like managing people in our business, like EO marketing agency, is different than managing people at an optometry office who are applying for a $10 an hour desk job.
It's a different thing. Yeah.
We work with people that like love marketing for the most part.
Yeah.
If you don't love marketing, we don't hire you.
Yeah.
So it's different a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was miserable. Honestly, my job, like the doctors that employed me didn't really like me either because I wasn't me. Like I was miserable. They knew I was miserable. It just wasn't a great experience for anyone. But I worked there for a year.
Okay.
And I made $18 an hour and I clocked in and clocked out. And for me, that was the most money I'd ever made.
Yeah.
So it was like a good thing, but I was dying inside. I would listen to Smart Passive Income every day. And then I got introduced to the digital marketer
Oh, yeah.
resource, and Ryan Dice, and started soaking up all of that. And that was super impactful. Literally taught me like the fundamental building blocks of marketing and growing a business online. I ended up getting pregnant with my third baby and decided like, all right, I'm not going to put her in full-time daycare. I've got to figure this out. And decided to start putting together some of the pieces of what I'd been learning all those years via podcasts, and started helping my dad with his marketing. So my dad called me one day, and he's an entrepreneur. He's always been an entrepreneur and a business owner. So I really appreciate all of that he's taught me. Like he modeled that for me growing up whenever I would, he modeled that for me growing up. And my dad called me one day and was like, hey, I need you, or I am hiring someone, an assistant, to help me schedule sales appointments with leads. Essentially, it's marketing.
Yeah.
Are you interested? And I'm like, well, can I do it at home while I'm nursing my baby? Yes, I'm interested. So I quit my job, started doing that with my dad, and just loved it. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
So it became our core like launching offer at our marketing agency now.
Something we still do.
We do. And it's super beneficial for the right business owner.
Yeah.
Started doing that for my dad. And as his business started growing, a lot of his clients who are business owners were like, hey, what are you doing? My dad actually, the true launching point for EO Marketing Agency was my dad asked me to teach a marketing class to.
I don't think I knew that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you that story. Oh my gosh, it was the scariest thing I've ever done. Like hand sweating, terrified. Okay, so my dad does like business coaching for Christian business owners. You already know that. He asked me in 2018, the fall, I think it was like August, to come to his office and teach a marketing class to like 8 high-level
of those business
CEOs.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, I have to do it, but holy shit, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to teach them? Well, I was going to teach them the outreach marketing process that I'd been doing for 2 years at that point. And I prepared my slide deck and I practiced, but I cannot even explain to you how terrified I was. But
you did it.
It at that point, it was the hardest thing I had ever done in relation to work.
Yeah.
Like I just can't even tell you how scared I was, but I did it.
Yeah. Pushed yourself.
I pushed myself, and my dad recorded it. So I bet it's somewhere.
I want to see it.
We can ask him if he has it. Yeah, he recorded it. Anyway, so I did that and I got 2 clients out of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Stacy Pearson was there.
Okay.
And
he's still a client.
Yeah. I love Stacy Pearson. We need to interview him on the podcast.
That'd be good.
And Trident Structures was another client that I got out of that. Yeah. From 2018.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what launched EO Marketing Agency. I started taking on clients outside of C12, my dad, and honestly have grown pretty organically up until 2024. We actually launched ads and started doing our own marketing.
Yeah.
So our growth from 2018 to 2024.
Yeah. Through 2023.
Through 2023 was all organic, word of mouth. Mm-hmm. Hey, this marketing agency helped me. You should try them too. And we've grown significantly year over year, probably like doubled every year.
Yeah. I was going to say probably at least.
Yeah. So that's my story.
So you pushed yourself, you taught that class, it took off. What did you learn about yourself in that too?
Here's something that I think is really important to touch on. It didn't take off in the sense that it didn't take off like, oh my gosh, $100,000 overnight.
Yeah.
Like I just started to make progress. And I remember really clearly when I got those 2 contracts signed and sent those invoices out for those 2 new clients, they paid me, I think it was $5,000 because my rate was like $2,500 a month each. So I got that $5,000 and I looked at my husband and I'm like, can you
I just got
believe this? Yeah. Cause it was like, this is what I wanted and this is what I was working for. And all of a sudden it just happened. And now $5,000 in revenue is like, cool, chump change.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of people to pay now.
A lot of people that I pay. But then it literally felt like one of the most exciting, biggest wins ever.
Just life-changing.
It was completely life-changing. And it was more money than I had ever made. And it was more freedom because I was running my own business. I had clients to serve, but I would serve them on my time frame. Like within the hour, I could still be a mom because I had young kids still.
Yeah.
I still have young kids. But I remember getting those checks and like one of the first things we did, I'm like, okay, now I can invest in an office. So we went to North Park Mall and like bought my first computer. Oh, because I had been working off of a super old laptop.
Yeah.
And we bought like a Mac and I literally felt
you had arrived
on top of the world. And I
That's
never want to
awesome.
lose that feeling because as you like grow in business and progress, you get bigger wins, but you don't ever match that feeling that you had before. So I feel like that's important to hold on to. But yeah, it was not like an overnight. We've had I don't want to say slow build.
No, I think
Steady.
It's been a steady build. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this year we started hitting the gas a little bit.
This year has been a little bit insane.
Yeah.
With growth.
Yeah. But that's awesome. So,
yeah.
I mean, how many people now? You have like 15?
I think 15.
Or so contractors you pay each month now.
That are on our team.
At your dining room table.
Literally,
like,
I would
awesome.
literally be nursing my baby while making these phone calls to schedule appointments for my dad. Like a baby on my boob and working. And I just little by little, step by step,
made it work.
Keep going.
That's awesome.
Keep trying. Don't give up.
Yeah. That's going back to the beginning, those problem solving skills. Like you found a way to make it happen.
100%. And honestly, this like talking through this with you is really cathartic for me right now. It almost makes me cry because it's easy to like look back on difficulties in your childhood or growing up or just your life and kind of feel sorry for yourself.
I mean, yeah.
But I truly realize that if I had not gone through the things that I went through growing up, I don't think I would have been able to create the life and the business and the family that I have now.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for my marriage and my kids and my company and God is good. Life is good. What the heck?
That's
it's
awesome.
surreal.
Now you have a podcast. What?
And here's a podcast that no one listens to. I'm just kidding.
Someone's listening.
We have listeners.
Yeah, our husbands.
Husbands listen.
They listen to this. They support us, and it's great.
Our husbands are so supportive. They're so sweet. Yeah. So that's who I am, and really, like the goal with this podcast is not. Yes, I do run a successful marketing agency with the help of my lovely Jackie McQuistion, but we're not like the end all be all.
Not know-it-alls.
We're not.
No.
We do know some things because we've been working at it for 6 years now, but we don't know everything. So I don't want this podcast to be like, hey, look at us. We're marketing experts and we know everything and you should listen to every word we say. We're figuring it out and we're sharing what we have learned, what we know works and what we know doesn't work based on trial and error and testing.
Yeah. And with as many clients as we have, we're able to learn things faster than just a single business owner trying to learn how to market their business. We've tested multiple things for multiple industries and we can get that information a lot quicker typically than individuals can.
Yeah, for sure.
I No. Is it
Tell
my
us about you,
turn?
Jackie.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Jackie McQuistion. I am a mom. I am not 33 anymore.
How old are you?
I think I'm 38. This is the thing about me. I don't know
I
if
feel
you know
like you
this.
look 34.
I never know how old I am. Like,
No, that's normal. I feel the same way.
it's like a weird, I have argued with
It's
people
normal.
about my age
yeah.
and been very wrong. So pretty sure I'm 38 right now. I'm pretty confident in that because I haven't had my birthday yet this year. So that means
38-ish.
I'm 38-ish. We're going to just hold there. I'm going to hold steady there for a while.
I don't think you look 38 though, truthfully.
Thank you.
You're like a hot mom.
I will take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I don't know if I believe it, but I'll take it.
No, you are. I truly believe that.
Oh man. So yeah, 38 years old. I am married.
I just popped my neck. Sorry.
Oh, let's cut that out.
I hope that wasn't.
Weird.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. You're 38.
I am 38. I have been married to my husband for 19 years.
Holy
Do
shit.
that math.
You got married young too.
I was 19. Yeah.
I didn't realize you were 19. So we were both
We were babies.
Young
getting married.
ass fools.
It's pretty crazy when I'm like, I look at, like, I have a niece who's 19. I'm like, no, you can't get married.
Yeah.
Or
Well, and now that
our
my
kids are getting
daughter's
close.
14.
I'm like, no.
I cannot fathom her getting married in 4 years.
No, that can't happen, right?
Our parents were probably peeing their pants.
They had to be. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I freaking love my husband. He's my
Same. I
best
wouldn't change
friend.
it, but it's also just really weird to think about with our babies.
well, and the fact that we have kept our marriages
Yeah.
healthy and strong throughout. I mean, there's blips, obviously,
Yeah.
in that a marriage that long, but like that's the exception.
Yeah. for
Most
sure.
people that
That's
get married
not
that young
common, I
do
feel
not,
like.
and we both have. I didn't even like realize that about us.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Good job, us. Staying married. Yeah. 19 years. I have 2 kids. I have 2 daughters. They are 13 and 9. 9-year-old will be 10 in like a couple weeks. So,
What's her birthday?
August 15th.
You looked nervous when I asked you.
I'm like,
on the spot.
yeah.
Okay.
So by the time this podcast is out, she's 10. So
And mine will be 12 by the time the podcast
there
is
we
out.
go.
Okay. So continue.
So we're good.
2 sweet little preteen daughters.
Yes.
A preteen and a teen.
And a teen, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Handful, but they're good kids. So my childhood,
Tell us all. Spill the tea.
oh man, I'm an only child. So first of all, there's that. That everybody's like, oh, that explains so much. Which
Yeah.
you just hear that your whole life when you're an only child, and it's like,
But it really
thanks.
does. I'm
Whatever,
just kidding.
whatever. I mean, everybody can be a brat, right? So, but yeah, I'm an only child. When I was born in Michigan.
Okay.
It's
It's cold there.
It's cold there. I don't like it there. No offense if you're in Michigan, but like
why you're in
there's
Texas now.
other places you can go and they're better in my opinion.
Oh, fun fact about Jackie. She used to drink the Flint water.
No, I did not. I did not. We were from the Flint area, but not Flint.
You drink the water and that's part of the problem.
I had a well at my house. We had our own water.
I always tease her about drinking that water.
No, I didn't.
It's probably not funny. Isn't that actually
It's
like
actually really bad. Yeah.
I'm so sorry for
You got so serious. No, it's a terrible thing, but people are mostly getting help now, I think. With
Okay,
the
good.
things that have happened.
what do they have? Mesothelioma? Or is that Camp Lejeune?
We need to cut all of this.
No, this is exactly what people are here for.
No, none of that.
Mesothelioma, I think, was from Camp Lejeune.
I don't know.
All right, let's go back to Jackie living outside of Flint, Michigan, not drinking the water.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah. Suburbs of Flint.
suburbs. Got it.
So when I was 5, my dad left his job at the shop up there. He worked at AC Sparkplug.
Ooh, a spark plug shop.
So like everybody in that area, you either work at the car factory or at a parts plant for the car factory. So he worked at a parts plant. And he quit that when I was 5 and became a full-time pastor. And we
Ooh.
moved from Michigan to deep South Mississippi.
So you were a only child to a pastor.
Yeah.
That explains even more.
Right? It's called being a PK. If you didn't know that, preacher's kid, like that's the term that's used.
Okay.
Yeah. So we moved deep into the South, into South Mississippi. And we moved around a lot. I added it up one time. I can't remember how many schools I went to, but it's kind of a crazy number.
I want to know.
I think it's like 11. And I actually skipped a grade. Did you know that?
I feel like you did.
I skipped
Tell me that.
5th
You
grade.
swindled the school.
Yeah, I made them think I was smart. It was because I had moved so much and been in so many different school districts, and they tested me and I got to skip grade.
Okay.
My kids think that makes me brilliant. And so I just let them
I think you
believe
should,
that.
ride that out.
I kind of want to wear like a name tag, like I skipped 5th grade.
Yes. Because of my smart.
Because I'm so smart.
I think you should run with it.
We lived Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, North Mississippi, South Mississippi, and then back to Michigan right before my senior year of high school.
Okay.
So I went to kindergarten and my senior year at the same school, which is just weird.
That is bizarre.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so...
But I wasn't in the same class because I had skipped a grade between. So I was with different kids.
Interesting. Bizarre.
It's crazy.
And growing up, you guys lived in like church parishes. Is it
parsonage?
Parsonage?
Yeah. No, I think parish is something. I think that's like...
A parish is like a county in Louisiana. Like Louisiana Parish.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
I think maybe different religions call it parishes, but it's
so what was that like?
Parsonage. Sometimes we had really nice houses and sometimes we had little tiny houses that were not in the best, safest areas of town. So
interesting.
Yeah, it was different. I think moving like that though and going to so many schools made me adaptable to like
so that's situations. Like a skill that has helped you get to where you are.
I can become friends with people when I'm thrown into a situation. I can sit and chat, and I don't always love it. I've kind of learned that about myself now. Now I'm like, I don't want to have to do that. But it is a skill set I have, which is, it's a good thing for sure. I think it's helped get me to where I am. So we moved back to Michigan, senior year of high school. That was like great memories that year. It was kind of cool to be back home. You know, we had some family and friends there already. So that was cool after moving around and like not knowing anyone most places. So, so I finished high school at 16 and
that's insane.
Right. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah, I mean, I was 16.
Yeah.
And so I looked at the local college that was literally like a mile from our house, looked at a list of things I could choose from for my degree. And I was like, oh, interior design. That sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
Let's do it.
Well, you're actually good at that.
So I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
like your house is super cute.
I went to school for interior design and it's really funny. So now I'm like, I have never done anything with that degree, which I'll get to in a second. But I had a friend explain to me how he saw that degree actually translates into ad creative.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, say what?
Can we take a side note on that?
Let's side note that for a second. It was very interesting, hearing it said to me about me. And I was like, this makes sense. And he said it better than I will, but he basically said you learned and you have a skill set to create a space that is inviting or that speaks to people in a certain way. And he said, you're now just doing that digitally.
Oh my God.
By making an ad that will speak to someone, that will get their attention, that will be inviting or make them feel comfortable with whatever it is. And I was like, huh.
Or make them identify. All the things.
Yeah.
How interesting. What friend was that? Adam?
No, Chaz.
Oh, Chaz.
Yeah.
Okay.
He always thinks about things differently.
How interesting.
But I was like, you're not wrong.
But I never
like the way
he
thought
thinks
about it. Yeah. I never thought about it that way, but I was like, it does make sense. Like it is a skill set.
I love that.
And I use it in a very different way.
But it's the same
But it is
skill.
It is.
How interesting.
Right?
Wow. Okay, cool.
It was kind of, yeah.
Okay, so back to Jackie's life.
Okay, so I met my husband when I was 17.
So did I. We have a lot in common.
It's like we're friends.
I know. Okay, keep
We
going.
bond over things.
I didn't know you were 17 when you met him.
No, yeah. I was 17 when I met him. Met him with a group of people. And I mean, I liked him, but he's older than me. So he was 22. Ooh. And he was at my house with like a bunch of friends and leaving. And when he walked out, my mom like hit me. And she's like, why didn't you date him instead of that last guy you dated? And I was like, do you know how old he is? And she's like,
he's
no.
an old man.
And I was like, he's 22. And she's like, so? And I was like, well, okay then.
Yes, I'm gonna date him.
So like the next week I went out on my first date with my husband.
So what did you do? Did you text him and be like, hey, let's date?
No.
Did you pursue him? Were you the aggressor?
Well,
or was it him?
No, it was kind of mutual.
We'll have to ask him.
Well, and I definitely like manipulated the situation a little bit.
We're both swindlers.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
no.
Our
poor husbands.
The very next weekend, there was like a party I knew he was going to be at, but he would like text me, but he hadn't asked me out. So I went with another guy to that party.
You sneaky fox.
Yes. And it worked because he texted me that night and asked me out.
Oh, that's so cute.
Well, he didn't ask me out, but he was like, showed me he was interested.
Yeah.
And then
it worked.
It worked. Yeah.
Well,
so
we're both girls that know what we like and we go after what we want.
And it sticks because, I mean, that was like 21 years ago. So
wow.
Something there.
I love that.
Yeah. So I finished my associates in interior design and we got married, but he was starting pharmacy school at that time. And so I was like,
smart man.
My job is to make as much money as I can while he's working. Like I've just got.
Were y'all married yet?
Okay. Yeah. So we got married at 19 and he was starting school, or I was 19 and he was starting school. He had been in school for other things, but he finally had direction at that point. So,
and you were going to support him through pharmacy school.
Yeah. Cool. So my goal was hustle and make as much as you can. So
how'd you do that?
I had a few jobs. So first one, I was like an admin assistant for an executive at a healthcare agency, and I got paid like $13 an hour, and
wow,
I was rolling in the dough at that point.
Isn't
right?
That so it's funny
really,
to look back on,
for sure. Like those checks were like, oh, at the time, but yeah. But I heard about an opening at manufacturing, like they made air handling units.
Okay.
It was actually for front desk.
Also applicable to our
so
many of our clients right now.
It actually is. Yeah, I like understand their industry a little bit because I worked
funny.
in a place that manufactured those things. But
and so what did you do there?
So I actually hired in as front desk.
Okay.
But it paid the same, but it was a mile from my house, which in Michigan winters to only have to drive a mile was amazing. Like I was not a fan of driving in the snow.
Sure.
So I got there and I worked hard and it was noticed. And I became executive assistant to the president of the company. And from there, I was given a dual role where I worked directly with the sales department, booking their events, handling their calls.
I feel like we're in a job interview right now.
Right?
You're sharing your...
Would you still hire me if you knew all of this? Because I feel like you probably never even looked at my resume, if we're being honest.
No. I hire on personality. No, you were smart. You are smart.
So, yeah. So I worked my way up in that company because my goal, again, was just to make as much money as I could
to
while
support
my husband
your little
was in
family.
School. Yeah. And so I did that. I learned a lot being there. I learned a lot about what a good employer looks like, what even HR. Like I know like we don't have HR. I always joke about that, but there's parts of our job that we need those skills. And I feel like I always look back to that time. I learned a lot about how that company was run. It was a good learning experience for me, and just kind of multiple areas of their business. Yeah. And I felt like I was respected for my work ethic, which not everyone does. And I think that's something we definitely look for in people, is a work ethic. I think that's part of why
the primary.
I think that's part of why you hired me and why it's lasted and we get along, is like we have a similar, like, we're going to go above and beyond. We're going to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I end up getting pregnant before my husband finished his pharmacy school.
They always knock you up.
The goal was to wait until after pharmacy school to have children, but that is not what happened.
But you were young and in love.
Yes. And
we know what happens then.
Babies. And so I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom with that baby. And so
that baby,
your
child. That sounds like
I wanted to stay home with her.
Yeah.
And that was a common goal. Like my husband wanted that as well. And so
was that realistic at that time? Because he was still in school.
He was still in school. He had about 6 months left.
Okay.
And so we were like, we left it on the table that I could go back, but we hustled as if I wouldn't.
Okay.
And saved and tried to hold up like 6 months worth of funds that would cover us so that I could.
That's hard to do.
And we did it.
Awesome.
We did. I didn't go back after that. And it was a hard decision. I mean, and we were poor.
Yeah.
Like when I say we were poor, it was like I was a big time couponer. Like that was my jam, because I had to get as much as I could with as little as I could. And
we have that in common, because my husband, Bobby, and I had that too.
Yeah.
Like we would walk through the grocery store with a calculator, adding up
100%
everything that we put into our cart, because we could only spend $100 on groceries.
And you had to make sure you weren't going over that
And if
budget.
it was over, so we have that in
putting
common.
that cereal back or whatever,
Literally.
whatever it is. Yeah.
I feel like every couple should go through that, because it teaches you so much.
It really does.
Like lessons that you cannot learn any other way.
100%. So we made it.
Yeah.
We got to the end of that, and he started his job as a pharmacist, which was awesome.
His real big boy job.
His big boy job. And I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years.
Holy mackerel.
Like 10 whole years.
I didn't do that. So it's so interesting to hear you explain your timeline in this way, because I never even thought about how long you were actually staying at home before you worked.
10 whole years.
And then your next job was EO.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had another baby during that time, and I
did all the things.
I went back and forth of like, should I get a job or whatnot? But I volunteered a lot. I did a lot of like event planning for our church or things like that. I mean, I wasn't just home. I was still doing.
Right.
But, but being a mom can definitely be completely full time.
Yeah. Well, especially when they're that little too. Like,
yeah,
of course.
And during that time also, we moved from Michigan to Texas, where he was from. And
I'm glad y'all did.
Yes, me too. Like I said, I don't get down with that weather.
Yeah.
So,
I don't blame you.
So we moved down here during that time. And then when my youngest started school, kindergarten, I was like, I think maybe I should get a job.
What year was that?
That was 2019.
Okay.
Fall of 2019. And I kind of casually looked. It wasn't anything, I didn't feel like it was an urgent thing I needed to do. It was more something I wanted to do for myself, of like, I think I need to be out of this house, not sitting home every day when my, kids are
both
at
your
school.
kids are at school. Yeah.
And nothing happened that fall. I didn't hardcore look, and nothing, came up. And that January, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to look for a job. I just had kind of like, and mean it, you know, and
like you wanted to work.
Yes. And literally, I don't know if you know completely how this happened.
I don't know, but I'm so excited to hear it.
I had literally probably the week before had told myself like, okay, it's time. I'm going to look for a job.
It's time.
And so I had been online looking at different things, and
That was 2020.
January 2020. I don't even like that year, but there's good things that came out of that year for me. So my friend had added me to a local mom Facebook page.
In the town that we live.
Yes. And I opened that, like I got the kids off to school, sat down with my coffee, opened my phone, opened Facebook, and at the top of the page was the first post I saw from that mom page, and it was Lucy. And she was looking for someone.
What was the position I was hiring for?
It was, I don't even know what the position title was, but it was like doing some of that outreach marketing sort of stuff.
Okay, so making calls for one of our clients.
One of the clients. Yeah. It was part-time, work from home. I was like, I could do that. Like, this looks like I could do this.
Yeah.
I'll apply. And I did. And I didn't actually hear back right away. And I was like, okay, maybe that wasn't it. And in the meantime, I had this huge event I was planning. I mean, I was putting in over like 40 hours a week for this event. I was planning for our church youth group, and I got to the end of that week exhausted. Again, got the kids to school, sit down, open my phone, look at my email, and I've got a request for an interview from you. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And so went into that interview so scared. I hadn't been on a job interview in 12 years.
And little did you know, it was like the most chill job interview you've ever been on.
Yeah, it definitely was not, the fear level exceeded the reality.
Yeah.
But 12 years is a long time to not be on a job interview.
For sure.
And feel like you've got to go in and sell yourself, to someone that you want this job. So I go in, I sit across from Lucy
at a coffee shop,
and Jessica at the time was there. Sit across from you guys at a coffee shop, and you kind of offered it on the spot.
I love Jackie. Like from like the moment I met her, I was like, I love the way her brain works, love her personality. Like, she is the right fit. Like, I just knew it.
And you had interviews after me that day.
We had a lot of interviews. One lady we interviewed that day, she was like, picture like someone with like really greased back, like super curly hair, like chomping her gum. And she's like, yeah, I work from home, like New York accent. And she was just like, she smelled like a smoker. I could just long red nails, just smoking. She wasn't smoking in the coffee shop, but it's what I imagined.
But you feel like that was the personality.
Yeah. And I was like, funny. Wow, this is not the right fit. But we did have a lot of interviews that day.
Yeah. I feel like you pretty much offered it to me, and I tried to play it really cool because I was so excited. I was like, what? Did I just get this job? And
I was like, did I just meet my best friend? I'm just kidding. We weren't friends for a while.
No. But I think you emailed me officially after, and I talked to my husband. I was like, I think I'm going to do this. And I started like the next week,
making February, $15 an hour.
February 2020, $15 an hour.
You had no idea what was coming.
I did not.
In multiple ways.
Yeah. So February 2020, I start working, and then the world shuts down in March. But EO kept growing.
Yeah, that was
like other people were
shocking.
Losing their jobs. And I was like, I still have my part-time work from home.
Yeah.
I have this income coming in still, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And so at the end of 2020, just getting through that year and seeing the way EO grew, how Lucy managed the company during that.
That's so nice of you to say.
Oh, I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I want to go full time if she'll have me. And he was like, ask her. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask.
And I think at that point you were just like doing like some like one-off marketing tasks, writing some blogs.
Yeah, it was super laid back work. Compared to what I do now, for sure. Yeah. But I remember I asked for a meeting, so scared. It was
very official the way that you asked.
Tell me no.
Yeah.
But I was like, I would like to meet with you. Now it's like, hey, can you just hop on this Zoom?
Get on this Zoom
chat with
now.
You. But
yeah.
And I just remember saying like, I want to grow with the company if you'll have me. And I will never
you'll have
forget
me.
that you said, I think you're smart. Let's do this. And that has always stuck with me. And it goes back to that
Makes
other
me wanna
company I
cry.
worked with before that, I felt like they saw my work ethic, but Lucy saw my brain. And it was
Yeah.
like the combination, made me feel like I can do anything. I
Yeah.
can do this. I can
Yeah.
learn anything I need to learn. And it went from there. And wow, it has gone from there.
Yeah.
But so that was 2021 that I was all in. But I've been with you over 4 years now total.
And how many years into us working together did we actually become friends? Because we worked together for,
It was probably about a year and a half.
yeah, we
It was
weren't-
after I went full time.
yeah, we didn't know that we were going to click and become best friends.
No, it was on accident
Yeah, but it
for
worked.
us. I think it was on purpose for
So
God.
the first time we hung out outside of work, we went to dinner with our husbands on a double date.
Yeah.
And I knew that I loved you and your husband because your husband, we went to a bar after dinner, Big Al's bar, and he took his tie off and swirled it over his head. And I was like, they are fun. I like
They're
them.
fun people.
Yeah.
Well, and our husbands got along, and then
Our husbands hit it
our
off.
kids are literally best friends now. It's really cool how
Our husbands are both extremely intellectual.
yeah.
So whenever we all hang out, our husbands are talking about science and philosophy.
String theory. I don't ask
String
me what I don't
theory,
know.
books.
It's that's the type of conversations they have.
They love it. They geek out.
yeah.
So yeah, we are working EO together and also become best friends.
It's pretty cool.
And that's who we are.
That's who we are. That was a long episode. Apologies. Ad Baddies out.
See you later.